Hello Year 4, it's Mrs. Please here with your RE lesson for Friday the 15th of January. I just want to start by saying well done for the job applications that you wrote yesterday. I was really impressed with them. I know it wasn't an easy task and some of you probably haven't completed a job application before, but I thought you did that really well and really showed the qualities of the angels that we've been learning about, okay? We're going to build on that today. But before we begin, let's just take a moment for ourselves. Try to still our bodies and our minds. You can use the image on the screen, the animation that's moving, to just help you focus on your breathing and still your mind and your body while we prepare for our RE lesson. I'll just give you a moment to focus on that. Okay, so let's have a look at our walk for today. This is the last lesson in our Christmas unit. It's only a short unit. So we're going to draw together everything that we've learnt today and produce a piece of work to show what we've been learning. So our walk today is to make links between beliefs, messengers of God today, and myself. So really thinking about how you can live like a messenger of God. And we're going to look at some examples of modern day messengers of God. So we're going to begin by thinking about the Angel Gabriel and just reminding ourselves who the Angel Gabriel was, what the qualities he showed were, and the things that he did as well. So we're going to listen to a hymn first of all, or a Christmas carol you might know it as, that you will be familiar with. But what I'd ask you to do while you're listening is to look at the images and think about the words of the song as well, okay, the hymn or the carol, so that you can really get an idea of what the Angel Gabriel was like and what he did. So I'll just share that with you now.
Beauty queens, I've discovered...
Okay, so I know you all know that, Carol, and you'll have heard that before, but hopefully it's just reminded you about the Angel Gabriel, okay? So these are some of the lyrics to that Christmas carol, that hymn. And what does it tell us about the angel Gabriel? If you think about the words used, what does it tell us? So think again about the qualities of the angel, and we can look at the words there. You might like to pause the video and read through those words. You might like to jot some of them down to ones that tell you about the angel Gabriel. So just take a moment here, and then we'll share some ideas in a minute about what that tells us about the angel Gabriel. Okay, I'm going to actually use a highlighter on here to just share what I think the carol tells us about the angel Gabriel. So I liked that it was sort of telling us actually what he looked like, what he appeared like to Mary anyway. Okay, so he came from heaven. I think that's important. Also, we know his wings as drifted snow. So we know he's appearing as white, and you can see that in the picture there, can't you? His eyes as flame. All hail, said he, the lowly maiden Mary, most highly favoured lady. So he's sort of giving glory to Mary there as well, isn't he? Showing how important she is. Then we've got more things that he'd said. And then at the end, so we could highlight all of the second bit, couldn't we? All of the second verse showing what Gabriel said. But really, I liked the fact that it showed the importance that Gabriel and God were placing on Mary, so a blessed mother, all generations honour thee. So we know he's showing how special Mary is, why she's been chosen to do the role that she has by God. And then the last verse, we've got Mary meekly bowing her head. So she bows to the angel Gabriel. So she's showing respect and reverence to the angel and to the message that the angel delivers, isn't she? To me be as it pleaseth God. So she's accepting the message that the angel Gabriel is giving. My soul shall laud and magnify his holy name. So she will live as God wants her to live. So Mary accepts the message that the angel Gabriel gives. Okay. So I wanted to just share that carol again with you, because I doubt we've ever really thought about the lyrics of it, but we actually learn quite a lot about the angel Gabriel and his qualities from that carol. Okay, and that's going to help us again with our work today. So as I said, this is our final lesson in the unit. So we need to bring together everything we've learned about God's messengers. And just to remind you, our WALT then is to make links. So we want to make links between what we've learned about some messengers of God today that we're going to look at in a moment, and about ourselves. So how can we live as a messenger of God, like the people we're about to learn about, okay? So can we act like angels on earth today? And can you think of anybody who has? So think about important people around the world recently. Maybe they're not alive anymore, but they lived in recent times, or they might still be alive today, carrying out God's work. So see if you can think of any important people that you know of who are messengers of God today or recently. So if you're in school, you might like to pause the video and chat with Mrs. Chamberlain now. Or if you're at home, you could talk to somebody there, or just think to yourself for a few moments. But I would pause the video here and think about these questions. Okay, I hope you've had a chance to think about that then. So I'm going to share with you now some messengers of God that have lived, either are still alive today, carrying out God's work, or have lived recently, okay, and you wouldn't have heard of some of them before. So let's have a look. So we've got Pope Francis. Now, we have talked about Pope Francis before. He's the head of the Catholic Church, isn't he? And he lives in Rome, in the Vatican, okay? And he is our current Pope, okay? Now, he's a really important role model for Catholics all around the world, but also just for people around the world, because Pope Francis shows us in his actions how he wants us to live and how God wants us to live. So Pope Francis, some things that we know about him, we have discussed this before, so hopefully you remember, but he actually lives very humbly, doesn't he? Even though he lives in the Vatican and he could live in a really enormous sort of mansion in the Vatican, he chooses to live just in a small apartment in the Vatican and live very humbly, okay? He has quite simple meals. He doesn't like extravagant things. He just likes to live very simply so that he can use what he has, God has blessed him with, to help other people. Okay, so a very humble person. He also has shown us how we should live in his actions. So we've seen images of Pope Francis before going to confession and confessing his sins to other priests. We've seen Pope Francis helping people around the world and speaking out against things that he doesn't agree with. So he's quite publicly spoken out against some other people that he doesn't agree with, like Donald Trump or people around the world who aren't always doing the right thing by everybody. So Pope Francis is a very brave messenger because he not only tells people good news, but he also sometimes delivers more difficult messages and has to be quite brave to stand up against other people. Okay, we've got St. John Paul II here. Now you'll notice he's dressed quite similarly to Pope Francis, and St. John Paul used to be the Pope, so we often refer to him as Pope John Paul II, okay? So he was Pope until his death in 2005. Now he was a very popular Pope. People really liked the way he led the Catholic Church and thought he was a really good role model as well, okay? And he did lots of good work around the world, spreading God's message and showing people how they wanted him to live, how us to live. Now, St. John Paul II came from Poland as well. So he's a nice role model for Europeans and people in Europe for how we can deliver messages around the world and travel around the world sharing good news in different languages as well. He spoke lots of different languages. Okay, another example that I know we've talked a lot about before and you hopefully will remember is St. Teresa of Calcutta. Now you might know her as Mother Teresa because she was known as Mother Teresa, but we now call her St. Teresa of Calcutta because she was canonized, which means she was made a saint. Okay, now she was made a saint because of all the fantastic work she did. We did learn about this in our last unit of work, didn't we? That St. Teresa of Calcutta lived really simply. She had very few possessions. She gave all of her money and everything she had to help poor people around the country that she lived in, okay? So she worked with orphans who didn't have parents to look after them. She worked with people who were poor and sick. She really placed a lot of importance on healthcare. So if people couldn't access healthcare, then she set up mobile healthcare units and took healthcare out to people, okay? So she was a very special person and a very, very, very good role model in how to care for others and care for people in society who maybe other people don't care as much about. Okay, so she really thought about the poor people in society and people who were sort of outcast from society and how she could help them. So St. Teresa of Calcutta. So think back to the work we did before for her as well, because I'm sure you can think of some other good ideas for her. Also, then we've got our house saints. So I've just picked St. Francis of Assisi, our yellow team, but think also about your house saint, because your house saint and St. Francis of Assisi are all messengers of God and all important people too. I know last time we looked at St. Teresa quite a lot as well, didn't we, and the work that she did in showing people small acts of kindness and how important they could be. But St. Francis of Assisi I picked because of his work looking after creation and the planet, okay? When we think about being messengers and caring, we often think about people, but actually we also need to think about the environment and the planet and animals and plants that we live amongst, okay? So St. Francis, you can see here, he's pictured with animals. He really placed great importance on God's creation and the natural world, okay, and caring for wildlife, for animals, and for the planet as a whole, okay? So think about how we can be messengers of God in caring for the environment around us as well, not just in caring for people. Okay, but like I said, you can also think about your house saints, and you might think of other examples of people who have been like angels and messengers of God today, okay? You can also, if you want more information about these people, you can always just have a look on your internet at home as well, okay, and have some time to research them if you need to help you with your work today. But I think you will probably know quite a lot about these people from work we've already done. So what challenges do you think those people faced? It isn't always easy being a messenger of God, is it? And we looked at that in our job applications. So what challenges might they have faced? So I've thought of a few here. I thought about language barriers. So I did say then Pope John Paul or St. John Paul II was Polish. So if he was then to go and speak to people in England or perhaps people in Asia, he might not have spoken the same language as them. So how did he overcome that barrier to be able to share good news? And how do the other people? What about people not listening? So if people don't want to hear the messages, that they're being given. So we did talk then about Pope Francis giving difficult messages. What happens then when people don't want to hear difficult messages, don't want to be told that they're in the wrong and that they should live a different way? And what about being too busy? Sometimes we're all so busy that we forget to listen to the messages being given to us, don't we? And forget to listen to how God really wants us to live. Okay, we've got lots to think about and do and busy lives. We don't always stop and think about how we should be living. But you might think of other challenges as well. So your task today then, we want to describe and reflect on how you could be a messenger for God. But you're going to draw all those ideas together, and I'm going to break it down for you to make it easier for you to help you structure your answers, okay? And we'll have a go together in a second. So you'll need to explain what I could do or say to be a messenger of God and how you would behave. So we've talked before, we don't always need to say how to live. We can often just show how people should live in our actions. So how would you show in your actions? Okay, then we're going to think a bit more deeply, and this will be a little bit more challenging, but I'll help you with that. So I want you to think, how difficult is it to be a messenger of God? It isn't always easy, so we need to think about difficulties. We need to think about how others might react to our messengers. Okay, not everybody thinks the same and not everybody believes the same thing. So how might other people react to our message? And what would we do in response to that? Okay, to try and convince people and encourage them to live in the right way. How can we respond? So let's have a look at an example. So Emmett's had a go at his answer, and this is how I'd like you to set your work out today. So you'll write your date and you'll underline it. You'll leave a line, you'll write your Walt and underline it. And then we'll break down our answer into sections, because I think that will really help you focus your answer and to make sure that you include everything and don't forget things today, okay? So an angel on earth today is our first heading, because it's what can we do or say. So Emmett's here explaining what an angel can do. So he's put, an angel on earth today is someone who speaks on behalf of God. The next section we've got what I could do or say. I could tell people what to do and how to be a good Christian, says Emmett. And then difficulties I might face, Emmett's put, people might not listen to me, so I will order them to. So what do we think about Emmett's answers? Again, if you're together in school, you can pause the video here and chat together. If you're at home, talk to somebody you're with. And if you're working alone, don't worry, just think to yourself, okay? Okay, I hope you've had a chance to think about Emmett's answers there. So I did like that he explained what an angel on the earth is saying. He's right, it is somebody who speaks on behalf of God. However, he didn't explain that they're a messenger, did he? And I really think that word's important to use. So I think we could probably add something there. I like the fact that he's saying he could tell people what to do, but it almost comes across as a little bit bossy, doesn't it? And I'm not sure people will listen if you're just telling them what to do. So I think we could improve that answer and give a little bit more detail about how we can be role models. And then he's right, people might not listen to him, but I don't think we would say we would order them to. So we need to think about how we're going to encourage people in a positive way to live as God wants them to. So let's have a go together at the first bit, and we'll see if we can improve Emmett's answers, and then hopefully that will help you with your work. So for my first section, I'm going to use what Emmett started, because I did quite like that. So I've got an angel on earth today is someone who speaks on behalf of God. But I do want that word messenger in, so I'm going to add that in now. I'm going to put, they are, I'm going to put a messenger telling people, maybe actually I'm going to put sharing with people, because that's a nicer word, isn't it? So sharing with people the good news, showing them how they should live through my own words and actions. So showing people the right way to live in how I live is what I'm trying to say. Let me just check that one. So I've got an angel on earth today. An angel on earth today is someone who speaks on behalf of God. They are a messenger sharing with people the good news and showing them how they should live through. I'm going to change my to their, because I've used they before. So their own words and actions. Okay, so do read back your answers just to make sure they make sense. I'm going to add in, just to make it even clearer, such as being a good role model and helping others. Okay, that does kind of go into what the second answer is. But but we can add that in. So what I could do or say, to be a messenger of God, this is how I wanted to start. So I've got to be a messenger of God. I could share the good news with others. For example, I could tell them about Jesus and how God wants us to live. I will show others how to be a messenger of God by, so I need to think back now to the qualities that we talked about that the angels had. So the angels were caring. They reassured people, didn't they? They said, do not be afraid. So I could put some of those ideas here to show that I'm linking those qualities. So I will show others how to be a messenger of God by being caring to everyone. I'm going to put, because I'm just thinking about St. Francis of Assisi there. So I'm thinking I might put, because I also want to link some of the people we just looked at. So I think I'm going to put, I will show others how to be a messenger of God by being caring to everyone, particularly the poor and those in need, just as St. Teresa of Calcutta did. I'm going to move my next answer down so you can put lots of details in here, okay? So use everything we've talked about and use those examples to really put everything you know into your answers. Like I said, this is our final piece of work for the unit, so we really want to show everything we've learned. So now I'm going to add in a bit. I thought about St. Francis of Assisi caring for creation. So we've got St. Teresa of Calcutta. I'm going to put, it is also important to show care for creation and look after animals and the environment like St. Francis of Assisi. Okay, so try and link the people that we looked at or people that you've thought of that are messengers of God today. And also really, you can see how much I've written there. So try and write lots to show your understanding. So link the qualities of the angels and link the people that we've looked at, okay? That will really help us to know that you've understood everything we've learned about angels and their qualities and being a messenger of God today, okay? So that's just my ideas. Obviously, you've got your own ideas, and I'm sure you've got even better ideas than me. So you'll set out your work like that. So you've got your heading, and then you can write underneath. So you can see how I've picked my headings from over here and put them onto my work here. So if you need to, pause the video on this page, and then you've got those subheadings to help you structure your writing today, okay? And if you're in school, then Mrs. Chamberlain can leave this up on the board for you to help you with your writing, okay? So I got up to how difficult it could be, and I wrote difficulties I might face. So then your next heading would be how others might react, and then finally, what will I do in response? Okay, I'll leave those sections to you because I really want to see your own ideas today, as this is our final piece of work, okay? Don't forget when you've finished to leave a learning pit for me. This will be quite a lot of writing today, but it will really show your understanding. So just leave me a learning pit so I know how you feel about the whole unit of work and what we've achieved in our Christmas unit. I'll look forward to seeing your answers, and good luck with them. There's no right or wrong, it's just your ideas. So please just be confident and show everything you've learned over the last 4 lessons. Well done. I'll look forward to seeing these later. Bye.